She vanished every night. I thought it was another man. But the truth was buried in that house.
Don't miss the next twist. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell for more interesting stories like this.
Title: The Night She Called Me by Another Man's Name. I should have known something was wrong when the lilacs bloomed early that year. Sarah always said they were her mother's favorite, purple clusters she'd cut fresh every spring to leave on the grave up at Pine Ridge Cemetery. But that March, when the buds burst open 2 weeks ahead of schedule, she didn't mention it. Just stared out the kitchen window, her coffee cooling in hands that had stopped wearing her wedding ring. We'd been married 12 years. 12 years of mortgage payments on our Craftsman bungalow in Burlington, Vermont, of shoveling snow off the porch steps every damn morning from November to April, of watching our daughter, Ellie, grow from a colicky infant into a gap-toothed third grader who still believed in the tooth fairy. Sarah taught biology at the community college. I fixed vintage motorcycles in the garage turn shop behind our house. Our life was the kind of unremarkable normal people write country songs about. Then came the Thursday night she forgot to make meatloaf. It sounds trivial, but Sarah was a creature of routine. Every Thursday since our honeymoon, meatloaf with garlic mashed potatoes, green beans from her garden, and a pecan pie she'd serve still warm from the oven. That week, I came in from the shop at 6:30 to find Ellie eating cereal at the table, milk dripping down her My Little Pony t-shirt. "Mom's working late," she said through a mouthful of Lucky Charms. Except Sarah's office light was off when I drove past the college at 7:15. Her parking spot empty. Her desk phone rang 22 times before I hung up. The first lie. By May, the lies had grown teeth. I found the receipt from the Black Rabbit tucked in her coat pocket, an upscale cocktail bar downtown where the drinks cost more than my hourly rate. Dated March 12. The night she'd claimed to be grading midterms at the library. Oh, that. She plucked it from my fingers like a magician palming a coin. The department had happy hour there for Rachel's promotion. Forgot to expense it. But Rachel's promotion party had been at the Rusty Anchor, according to the group photo still on Sarah's Facebook. Then there were the phone calls. Always stepping onto the porch, the click of the deadbolt engaging behind her. The low murmur of her voice carrying through the screen door, words indistinguishable but tone unmistakable, the soft laugh she used to reserve for our late-night talks in bed. The final straw was the GPS. I'd installed a tracker on her Prius after the night she came home smelling of wood smoke and bourbon, her blouse buttoned wrong. "Campfire at Rachel's lake house," she'd said, scrubbing her hands raw in the kitchen sink. But Rachel's lake house was 50 miles north, and Sarah's car had pinged all evening at an address in Montpelier, a boarded-up Victorian on Elm Street with a foreclosure sign stabbed into the weed-choked lawn. I went there at midnight. Parked my Ford 2 blocks down, collar turned up against the drizzle. The house loomed like a rotten tooth, porch sagging under the weight of its own decay. Light bled through a second-floor window. Shadows moved. Sarah's Prius rolled up at 12:37 a.m. My hands shook so badly I dropped the binoculars. She stepped out wearing the red trench coat I'd bought her for our anniversary, hair swept up in that messy bun she only did for special occasions. A man emerged from the passenger seat, tall, broad-shouldered, face obscured by a baseball cap. They walked inside holding hands. I vomited in the gutter. Confrontation happened at 2:15 a.m. in our yellow-tiled kitchen. Ellie's Paw Patrol lunchbox sat on the counter, half-packed with carrot sticks and a note Sarah always drew, a smiling sun wearing sunglasses. "Who is he?" I asked, the words tasting of bile and diesel from the shop. She froze, a spoonful of coffee ground suspended over the machine. What? The house. The man. The fucking lies, Sarah. My fist hit the refrigerator, sending Ellie's finger paintings fluttering to the floor. Was it worth it? Trading us for some rich asshole who takes you to $20 cocktail bars. Her face did something terrible then, crumpled like a paper bag set aflame. She reached for me. "Ben, it's not. Don't. I jerked back. Don't say my name like you still. Ben. Her voice cracked. That house, it's not an affair. She opened her laptop, fingers trembling over the keys. The screen flared to life, revealing security camera feeds, dozens of them, angles showing empty rooms with stained walls, a basement littered with soiled mattresses, a closet-sized space with a tiny window high up. His name is Joel, she said quietly. He's 12. Rachel's nephew. Been missing since January. The story spilled out in fractured pieces. The real reason for Rachel's promotion party. Not a career milestone, but a cover while cops investigated her brother-in-law, a state senator with a taste for underage boys. The anonymous tip about the Elm Street house. Sarah's late nights spent combing through dark web forums with a hacker friend from college. The trap they'd set, using Sarah as bait to lure the senator into incriminating himself. That man tonight was Detective Marsh, she said, pulling up a police badge on her phone. We got Joel out an hour before you arrived. He's at Vermont Medical Center now. They're prepping him for surgery to remove the tracking chip they put in his arm. I sank onto the linoleum, back against the dishwasher. Ellie's crayon drawing of our family stared up from the floor, 3 stick figures with absurdly large smiles, our golden retriever, Duke, floating beside them like a 4-legged cloud. Why didn't you tell me? Sarah knelt, tears cutting trails through her smudged mascara. The senator's people threatened Rachel's kids. They were watching us. If I'd told you, her hand found mine, cold and shaking. I needed you to be angry. To act normal. If you'd known, you might've. The unspoken truth hung between us, I'd have stormed into that house guns blazing. Got us all killed. They arrested the senator at a press conference the next morning. Sarah's name never made the news, just a line about an anonymous tip from a concerned citizen. Ellie still thinks her mom was helping a friend study for night classes. But sometimes, when Sarah thinks I'm asleep, I catch her staring at Joel's photo in the paper, his smile too old for 12, eyes haunted by things no child should know. She traces the scar on his forearm where the chip used to be, and I pretend not to see the tremble in her fingers. Last week, the lilacs died. Sarah cut the dead blooms anyway, placed them in a mason jar on the kitchen table. When I asked why, she said, for the ones who made it. That night, I found her in the garage, polishing my old Harley. Not speaking. Just running the cloth over chrome in endless circles, as if she could buff away the darkness that had seeped into our once ordinary life. We don't talk about Elm Street. Don't mention the bourbon scent that still clings to her red trench coat, or how she jumps at every creak in the floorboards. But when she reaches for me in bed now, her hands aren't cold anymore. They're freezing.